Falsely thoughts, race, life's a twisted place. No time to erase.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Scars, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's your day going, man?
I'm all right. All right, we got 25 minutes on the clock. What you got?
So, you said the holy books are just claims of God and not evidence.
Correct.
But I mean, how would you get evidence from that far back in time?
The same way that we get evidence of everything else, basically, archaeological evidence.
Like what?
Like for example, we know that the city of Troy existed because we found ruins of the city of Troy. We know of the Greek pantheon because of what the Greeks wrote about it, things like that.
But
But
aren't there the same things in the Bible, like Nazareth and Jerusalem?
yeah, of course, there's Nazareth and stuff like that. I'm not claiming that where the locations in the Bible are don't exist. What we're talking about is basically the divine claims in the Bible, such as people walking on water, flying up into heaven on a chariot, etc., things like that.
Yeah, but at the time, you still can't get evidence because at the time it was just eyewitness testimony.
Yeah, of course, that's what makes it unreliable. It only makes it a claim because there's also eyewitness testimony of basically the Greek pantheon. Like people wrote about Zeus coming down and having children all the time, but we know Zeus isn't real,
Well,
or
at the same
apparently
time,
isn't.
if you took out everything that Jesus did, walking on water and all that, even the miracles,
Mhm.
then I mean, would that still not be a sense of evidence for you if he was just an influence speaking and preaching about God?
Yeah, of course, he'll be an influence. I think I put Jesus on the same plane of Buddha, Muhammad, Confucius, folks like that. They really, impacted the planet. They definitely impacted the planet. You know what I mean? We can't deny that. Jesus probably was a real person, according to historical, as much as historical data as we can get. He was probably a real person, or he was several people amalgamated into one, kind of like King Arthur. You know what I mean? But that really it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I have no problem with Jesus existing as a person. My only contention, or what most atheists would say, is that the contention is over his divine nature, or he was a son of God, or he came down to save us. That right there is not with is has no evidence towards it.
Well, I mean, divine, you can't really have evidence for the divine.
Yeah, exactly, which is why we don't believe it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can have evidence for everything at a time.
Yeah, there are some things that we can't have, like for example, if our technology is not at that point yet, there's some evidence that we're not going to have. Like for example, it's reasonable that people 1,000 years ago in Western Africa thought that lightning was a god named Shango. You know what I'm saying? Because they couldn't explain what lightning was. They just didn't have the evidence for it. You feel me? But now that we do have the technology and the evidence for it, we can research these things, and if they're not apparently true, there's no reason to believe it.
Okay, so so you believe more in Julius Caesar than Jesus Christ as a person, yes?
Yeah, we have more evidence for Julius Caesar. Well, when you say as a person, like I'm not
Just
denying
as
that
a
Jesus
person, like
existed as
block
a
out all the
person.
miracles and all that.
Yeah, yeah, without all the miracles and all that, basically.
So you
Yeah.
believe Jesus is a person walking on earth.
Now he walked on Earth, yeah,
Walked on
like
earth,
from
yeah,
back
that's what
then.
I meant to say, sorry.
No problem. Yeah, he walked on Earth from back then. Sure.
Oh, so you're just saying that the claims of him walking on water and making food out of air is something that it's just not, there's no evidence for that?
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is that the only evidence they would have at that time is eyewitness testimony.
Great. The problem is that the only eyewitness testimony that we have, first of all, eyewitness testimony is unreliable. That's the first thing. But the
So
only
that means all history
uh
is unreliable.
not necessarily, because like I said, we can have like archaeological data for it. You know what I'm saying? Like
What is
if
archaeological data?
archaeological data basically like means like writings from around the area.
Isn't that eyewitness
Basically,
testimony?
no, not necessarily, because it's not just eyewitness testimony. For example, for if we just had Alexander the Great, right? Let's say Alexander the Great. If we just had one parchment for Alexander the Great, that's just eyewitness testimony. But for Alexander the Great, we don't only have him written and by Greek historians, we also have him written by Egyptian historians, by Persian historians, and we actually see like the map of Greece. They knew about these places. You see what I'm saying? From maps from back then.
Well,
So
yeah,
that's
we
more
don't
than
have
eyewitness
Jesus
testimony.
only written in the Bible. We have him written by philosophers as well outside of the Bible as well. Speaking
Yes,
about
but
crucifixion.
correct, but only after Jesus existed, like thousands of years, not thousands, but probably hundreds of years after he existed. And the only thing that he wrote is that this is what people believed about Jesus. They don't say that, gee, I saw Jesus walk on water. No one says that. The only place we find that is in the Bible. And those are unreliable because they're completely anonymous sources. We have no idea who wrote them.
Okay. So what is your main point here?
My point is basically these. I like to talk about this type of stuff. You know what I mean? And not only that, I like to have these type of discussions. And there are a lot of, I hate to bring politics and race into it, but
Yep.
people who look like me don't tend to be non-believers. So I like to go ahead and expose myself to these type of folks and let
Okay.
them know that there's more of us around than not.
Okay. I feel like that one I picked is kind of going to be in a loop here, so I'm going to pick something else. Is that fine with you?
Sure thing.
All right. So God isn't necessary for purpose, morals, or values.
Mhm.
I would say that if there was no God, morality would be relative.
I would say it already is, even if God exists.
Well, even if God exists, morality would basically be absolute because I mean we all agree murder is wrong and it doesn't benefit humanity.
Right. It doesn't benefit humanity. It's wrong and everything like that. But the thing is, what I would say, the reason why I would say that it would still make it relative is because it's basically on whatever God decides. And if God decides that murdering babies is moral, which is what he said before, then that's moral. You see what I'm
But I
saying?
mean, but he doesn't.
He has before.
He has said that burning babies is moral.
He has says that he has ordered murdering babies, and if whatever God says is moral, then murdering babies is moral. Is
And
moral.
where does it say that he orders babies to be killed?
Yeah, sure. I can find that. Give me 1 second. All right.
You gotta tell me too, because I got my Bible with me.
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Some guy said Samuel 15:3.
Yeah, I don't. I tend to not to have it off the head, but there it is. Yes, that he was correct. Psalm 15:3. He says, "Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all they have. Do not spare them. Unalive both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey." That's basically an order for Shmenaside.
Oh, so when we get early. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to get to the verse here. Yeah, it says Psalm 13. What was it? Verse 3?
Yeah, it's Samuel 15, verse 3. Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all they have. Do not spare them. Unalive both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey.
Yeah, but that's not God saying to do that. That's the king
Yeah,
saying to do that.
no, this was God.
God is saying that.
Yeah, this is God. And let me find out. There's a verse in Deuteronomy as well. Oh yeah, it's a verse in Numbers actually. He says in Numbers 21:2. Actually, yeah, there it is. Then Israel made a vow to the Lord and said, "If you will indeed give us this people into our hands, then we will utterly destroy their towns." Basically, another thing they're praising God for Shmenociding people.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say it one more time. I was looking at the verse. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. There's Numbers 21:2, which is also
Numbers,
Shmenocide.
oh, Numbers 21 too. Let me see. Numbers 21 to Numbers. What the heck is that? Okay. All right. So read all up.
Numbers 21:2. Then Israel made a vow to the Lord and said, "If you will indeed give this people into our hands, then we will utterly destroy their towns." Well, that's more the Israelites saying that this is what they'll do.
Well, yeah. At this one, the Israelites saying that, and in the other one, the king is saying that. This is the king summoned him. That wasn't God that did that.
What in 1 Samuel 15:3?
And Samuel, yeah.
Let's read all of Samuel then. Let's go to 1 Samuel 15 and because I could have sworn that was God saying that. Give me 1 second, all right? Okay, let's read the full chapter. Okay, Samuel said to Saul. Oh yeah, that was God saying that because
Oh
Saul was
yeah.
speaking for Samuel. Samuel said to Saul, "The Lord sent me to anoint you king over the people of Israel. Now therefore listen to the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts: I will punish the Amalekites for what they did in opposing the Israelites when they came up out of Egypt. Now go to attack Amalek and they'll utterly destroy all they have. Do not spare them, unalive both man and woman, child and infant, ox, sheep, camel, and donkey." So Saul was speaking for Yahweh there.
Okay. So, I mean, if even if God says to do this, and even if God puts away the world with water, that still means it's justified in some sort of way. And I believe there is some sort of context to justify this instead.
What context justifies unalive babies?
Well, I said there's a belief in this that I believe that justifies him doing that at the same time. I mean, I'm not saying I would do that, but I'm saying if God says, is there a justified reason to do that? Then yes, then there is.
But that just makes morality relative, like I said before, because whatever God says goes.
Yeah.
All right, so whatever I say goes. What's the difference?
Well, you're not God.
So what?
Well, that just because you don't agree doesn't mean it's not absolute.
That doesn't make it absolute. If I can hold on, if so, God doesn't have to follow His own rules. Didn't God said that He doesn't like Doesn't didn't God say Himself, "Thou shalt not murder," and the shedding of innocent blood is detestable to Him?
Yeah, but that's not murder. That's probably justified in some sort of way.
Oh, so it's justified to shed innocent blood because God said so?
Well, it's not going to be justified if it's innocent blood.
Right. So these children that he said to go murder were innocent.
Well, I
So
believe
how
that he's not just going out and saying just kill these people. There's definitely a justified reason.
the only justified reason was that the only quote unquote justified reason. Hold on. Actually, there's no justified reason. What's the justified reason to unalive infants? How is that justified, bro?
Bro, bro. God threw down a whole storm of of like ash and stuff over at town because they all weren't righteous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a justified reason. That means God
No, it's
absolutely.
not. How is that justified?
So
Saying
if there's a
just because God is
dude, if
completely
there's a whole
arbitrary.
town raping women and killing everybody, like
Hold on. One second. Please use
oh
TikTok
yeah,
safe
yeah,
language.
I forgot. If there's a whole town graping and doing unaliving, can I say unaliving? I don't even know if I can say that.
Yeah, you can say unaliving.
Okay,
That's good.
I don't know if they were unaliving like people, like everybody was like the good thing to do is to put that town away. Like what else are you gonna do? Let them just do what they're gonna do?
No, but there's two things I would say to that. Number one is that we've seen in the Bible where Yahweh would harden people's hearts. He did that to Pharaoh, right? He can if he can harden someone's heart, he can also soften their heart. Yeah, I mean, now people say that would violate free will, but if how is it not violating free will to harden someone's heart and not soften it? You see what I'm saying? So it's like that's the number one thing I would say. But the second thing I would say is that the only place where this narrative happens is within the Bible itself. We have no idea if Sodom and Gomorrah was actually like that. And a society wouldn't survive if it's actually a fractured society like that, wouldn't survive for long. You see what I mean? And the third thing I would say is that Lot himself wasn't even righteous, nor his daughters,
Mhm.
because Lot gave up his daughters to get raped. And then in turn, later, his daughters raped him. So none of the people were justified. If they were going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he should have destroyed Lot and his daughters too, because none of them were righteous.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have no idea how to like. I don't know what to say to that.
No, it's all good. But yeah, the reason why I think God is in this part of the reason why I think God is necessary for purpose, morals, or values, because I still have purpose, morals, and values without believing in the God. And I think that there's also there are religions out there that are godless, like Buddhism. Buddhism
Yeah.
doesn't have a particular God, but they still have moral purpose and values, even though it's considered a religion. Same thing with Confucianism. And if I'm not mistaken, people can correct me on this. Taoism and I think Shintoism also don't really have deities or a supreme one. They may have spirits, but they don't have a supreme one. and they also have morals, values, purpose, etc. You see what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
to me, you can join another religion and not, or you can not believe in God and still have all that. It's not. It wouldn't be necessary.
Mm. So I can't. I don't know why I can't understand this, but when I do a debate, it's always why is it always the Old Testament brought up, not the New Testament? I never understood that, and this is me like wanting to actually like re-educate it. Like I'm not even trying to like trap you or anything. I'm just I'm still learning. I'm still learning the Bible in the in this way. So I mean, I can't even like
I mean, the New Testament has its own issues, but I think when it comes to things like morals, the reason people bring up the Old Testament is that folks would say, "Oh, the New Testament says this, that, and the third," which is great. However, they will also say that Jesus is also God. So if Jesus is God, wouldn't that he be the same God as the Old Testament? So if that's the case, then the Old Testament God and Jesus are the same. So they just like decide to chill out. That's the thing. Like you have to take. I don't think you gotta take the whole Bible into consideration, but I
mm,
think when it comes to discussions about like morals and stuff like that, we people tend to use the Old Testament for that. And then when it comes to historicity and actual evidence, that's when we go into the New Testament because there's problems there as well. See what I
uh-huh.
mean?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Coda and Buckhead. I do see you guys. I think Coda is a friendly. Coda, I'm only taking opposition at the moment, but I'm gonna bring you up just for a second because I got about 8 more minutes with Scars. You probably wanted to discuss with him, and I'll you guys can go from there. Coda, you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you only bring up people that oppose to you, correct?
Right, right. I'm only bringing opposition right now, but I think you wanted to have a discussion with Scars for a second. I could let you guys talk for the next 5 minutes, and
Yeah,
then
sure.
we'll go ahead and move on.
I mean, you ain't got to. I mean, because unless cars. So what you guys are talking about? Just the topic, basically.
Yeah, we're just talking about these topics, and we'll move on.
Hold on, my bad. Hold on.
Yeah, sure, not a problem. Hey, I appreciate all you guys being here. Please like the live, please share it, please subscribe. Please subscribe to my YouTube. It's the same thing, Volsy Thoughts on YouTube. I do have a goal up here. If y'all would like to contribute to the goal, please subscribe to me as well. It's only about $2.99, and you get all the stickers and all that good stuff. Keep liking it, y'all. Remember, I'm looking for opposition only.
Hey, come back around to me, brother. I'm doing something real quick. I'm sorry.
Hey, not a problem, man. You have a good one, all right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, Scar. So we got about 5 minutes left. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Okay. As a person who's starting to debate, and trying to still doing more research and doesn't know the religion as well, but I know like a good handful.
Mhm.
I'd say you're a pretty good debater. I respect you. There's moments in the Bible that I still haven't done enough research for. For example, Samuel, for example. To me, this is like my religion, and I know you respect it. And I just gotta do more research on it just to see if actually wasn't justified or justified. I'm a skeptic person. I'm not gonna be biased here and say no. It's all good. Because everything has their right and wrong. So I'm just gonna be respectful, man. I appreciate you debating.
Hey, not a problem, man. You have a good one, all right?
You too, man.
All right, cheers. All right, y'all. We got Justin in the house. Shout out to Justin, y'all. Remember to follow Deconstruction Justin. He does a lot of deconstruction work. I'm part of his community as well. A lot of good discussions. So tap tap tap. Let's go ahead and get to 10K. I appreciate the heart, Justin. Appreciate that.